Hello and welcome to Leads, 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 Get Me More Leads. My name is Makiko Ara and I'm the Director of Digital Marketing at Total Product Marketing. TPM is a digital marketing agency that focuses exclusively on cloud and hosting companies. In this presentation, you will learn what it takes to get leads for cloud and hosting providers. I initially gave this presentation for the first time at HostingCon 2015 in San Diego. Visiting the city for the first time, I really enjoyed the eclectic cuisine and I had a hard time staying on track with my diet. Because you see, in 2015, I made a huge commitment to myself. I have 2 kids, 3 and 5 years old, and the last few years have been a little rough on me, so I really wanted to commit myself to getting back into shape, lose 10 pounds. It started in late 2014, but I have to be honest, it was tough. It took a while for me to get the right balance of better eating and exercising. At one point, I had cut down my caloric intake so much that I was having trouble staying awake during the day. Then I'd crash and fall off the wagon, only to vow I'd never do that again. Eventually, I had to ask myself, was I really serious about trying to get healthier, or was I just single-mindedly focused on those 10 pounds? What was my true goal? I realized that 10 pounds was really just the tip of the iceberg. There was an underlying overall health I had to manage in order to have a sustainable weight loss plan. And well, I'm happy to announce that I did indeed reach my goal of shedding those 10 pounds. And what I learned over this year is that there is no magic pill for better health and that a healthy lifestyle isn't something you can turn on and off. Which brings us to today's topic. You're probably all wondering why I'm talking about health and weight loss in this marketing presentation for hosting providers. I think living a healthy lifestyle has a lot of similarities to a healthy marketing plan. And as a healthy lifestyle leads to weight loss, a healthy marketing plan can lead to leads. Leads, leads, leads. And that's why you're all viewing this presentation today. Just as I learned about my own body this year, for business, it's about understanding your business and working on the building blocks to ensure that those leads are coming in consistently. It's about making a commitment, and it's certainly not about diet pills or a magic switch you turn on and off when you have a budget. If I came to you and said I wanted to lose 10 pounds by next Monday, you could sell me some diet pills like Redesigned here for $22 a bottle. Unfortunately for you, this bottle will only last you 10 days, and by the way, you need to take these pills for at least 2 months, and by the way, you still have to combine this with dieting, cleansing, and a healthy exercise program, so it begs the question, is it even really worth it? By the way, this is actually a real product you can find on Amazon. Better advice would be to sit me down and say, Akiko, losing 10 pounds in a week is unreasonable. But if you commit to healthy eating and an exercise program for 3 months, I know you can reach your goals. Do you all agree this makes more sense? The lead gen strategy I'll be talking about today is not the Redesigned of marketing. We don't have the magic pill to get leads. But I am here today to get everyone on a healthy marketing regimen which will lead to organic leads and a healthy growth of your business. Marketing is part of the iceberg under the water surface. Lead gen is the stuff above the water, the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of work that's required below the surface, but it's a regimented process that any company can implement. Today we're going to give you that process, but it will be sustainable, measurable, and deliver leads in a very tough and competitive environment. I'm going to be honest with you. This presentation is boring. Far from sexy, but it's something we can all achieve. Just like a healthy lifestyle, not just for the rich and famous, the Amazons and the Rackspaces, and that's why it's so effective. Now that we've sufficiently lowered your expectations, let's get on the same page. The hosting industry has changed significantly over the last few years. As my good friend Phil Shee, Managing Director of Structure Research, puts it, we have now entered the new norm of the hosting industry. There were hints of this change in the industry over the past couple of years. Consolidation, mergers and acquisitions, smaller players feeling the squeeze. These are the elements we hear from the industry. Consolidation is making the big guys bigger, competition is fierce, declining growth rates, AWS is just plain scary, and not enough traffic. This is now the reality of the industry. Now, looking at this list, you'll notice the big red asterisk next to the last bullet point. Out of all the doom and gloom of the new norm, we see not enough traffic as the one thing you have control over. Not enough traffic often means one of two things. One, poor web presence, so actual traffic numbers are low, or good traffic, but not converting, or the wrong kind of traffic. So this is where our journey to a healthy marketing strategy starts. We're going to start by talking about traffic. Primarily Google. I warned you, this wasn't going to be sexy. Let's look at the reality of the B2B buying cycle. Depending on which report you read, most buyers begin their journey on the web and do 40 to 70% of their research online before ever contacting a salesperson. I suspect for cloud buyers, the percentage would be on the higher end of this range, with IT buyers doing most of their research independently. So, how do you grab those prospects and guide them along the sales funnel when they're not reaching out to you until they've pretty much made up their mind? The point where marketing ends and sales begins is somewhere along the buyer journey. In bullfighting, there's a point in the bullfight called the moment of truth. It is a moment when the matador makes the kill. The moment of truth concept is also used in sales. It's usually defined as the moment when the customer and the organization have a one-on-one engagement where the customer has the opportunity to either form or change their impression about the firm. For the salesman, it's the chance to make the kill or close the deal. Now, this moment still occurs. It's the moment when Jeff in sales jumps up, pumps his fists in the air, and proclaims, "We're going to get this deal." The reality is that the moment of truth in the sales cycle has become insignificant, given that the customer has done all their research and made their decision even before they talked to Jeff. Poor Jeff was just a formality. The new critical moment of interaction between the organization and a customer is now called the zero moment of truth. Coined by Google, this is when prospects recognize a need or a pain and go online to gather information regarding a potential solution. This is the critical moment that we as providers should be working towards. Your brand needs to show up in that initial search, and the content you present will shape the decision that prospect will make about their particular purchase and about your company. Now, the good thing is that the zero moment of truth can happen several times along a buyer's journey of discovery, so there's a lot of opportunity out there. Let me explain. Let's imagine 10 years ago, 2005. Matthew McConaughey is People's Sexiest Man Alive, the world learns how weird Tom Cruise is when he jumps on Oprah's couch, and the Patriots win the Super Bowl. I am Barry. I'm an IT manager. I've got too much corporate data. I do a search on Google and type in how to deal with too much corporate data. I get a list of companies that seem to solve my problem, but information is scarce. I'm not sure if I should buy more servers or how having my data hosted offsite really works from a practical point of view. I call a few of the service providers to inquire about my options, or I submit a contact request. I am now in the sales funnel for several vendors and talking with Jeff the salesman to help me find a solution. Fast forward to 2015. Chris Hemsworth is the sexiest man alive, Caitlyn Jenner is now a woman, and the Patriots win the Super Bowl again. Barry has the same issues. Barry types in the same query and quickly learns about cloud storage. He's heard the buzz about the cloud, but wants to make sure it's the right fit for their company. I changed my query to Cloud for Enterprise. I get a multitude of vendors who offer a multitude of solutions. I read blog posts, help documentation, case studies, marketing content. I begin to understand my options more. I read about auto-syncing. This seems like something I would need. Eventually, as I move down my journey, I discover that I'm actually not even an enterprise, but an SMB. Somewhere along the line, I will come across some content which is highly valuable. Maybe it's a blog post, so I've subscribed to the blog. Maybe it's a download piece, so I leave my contact information for that piece. Now I am a marketing qualified lead for a cloud company like you. I receive additional helpful information from you. I'm encouraged to learn about cloud security and cloud performance. You are very helpful. You continue to feed me helpful information. I now know what I need. I know who offers those particular services. I've never called anybody. I was never anybody's lead in the classic definition. But here's the zero moment of truth. Every day I got closer to buying a solution, and every day I interacted with the brand and content. The question is, am I going to buy from you? So what's the answer? How do we get in front of these prospects? When it's in front of these prospects, how do we control the sales process? How do we move these prospects down the funnel? You're in luck. According to Google, tech buyers consume an average of 14 pieces of online content before making a buying decision, as opposed to just 8 to 10 for a typical buyer. That's 14 opportunities to get your brand in front of a prospect, 14 opportunities to educate and truly help that buyer down their journey. By offering prospects helpful information, you can win their trust and their business. The key is not to sell, but to offer genuinely helpful information. Thought leadership, the holy grail of content, is completely attainable. I think you're all ready. What content should you be pushing out? That goes back to understanding your customers. Let's think about Barry. I think you are all nodding your heads as I went through Barry's journey. That's why I'm confident that all of you here can take what you learned today and apply it to your own business. Barry is our buyer persona. In these 15 minutes, I think we've collectively already gotten to know Barry pretty well. The easiest way to identify buyer personas for your business is to think about your ideal customer. Everyone's Barry is a bit different, but let's get to know Barry. Barry is 42 years old. He's the director of IT at Acme Global Trading. He has an electrical engineering degree from Brown University. He uses a company-issued Samsung Galaxy S6 and basically only uses it to check emails and follow the Patriots. He is responsible for ensuring that everything from software to hardware to telecom, phone systems, and network is running in his company. The one thing that worries him constantly is downtime. Now, can you imagine Barry and the questions and concerns he might type in Google as he realizes that he has too much corporate data? People are storing data on their own personal devices. BYOD is happening, performance is declining, security of data is becoming an issue. He realizes he has some problems. He realizes he has a pain, a problem. This is stage 1, the awareness stage. Then he learns about the solutions he might need and the type of vendors that are out there. Stage 2, the consideration stage. Then he begins to shortlist a handful of vendors who meet his needs. Stage 3, the decision-making stage. Isn't this exciting? Aren't you excited for Barry? He's learning about the cloud. He's priming himself to become a lead for one of you. Now, who's it going to be? Your mission is this. Be found on Google during your prospect's buyer journey. Once again, be found on Google during your prospect's buyer journey. This answer is not profound, but requires commitment, understanding your buyer, and a regimented winning process. At this point, you've all committed because you told me that Lipizzan was a bad idea. You understand your buyer. You all know your own personal Barry. Now, all that's left is a regimented winning process. Google, she's your new mistress. Get to know Google. She can be your friend or your foe. Friend if you understand how she works and you're killing it on your site and getting a ton of leads. Foe if your website is an outdated afterthought. So you have to keep it fresh. Google is the #1 search engine in the world, and YouTube is the #2 search engine. You can't get around that. Your website is your #1 property. It's not a billboard. It needs to evolve over time. How can we get Google to work for us? Understand that Google's job is to provide her users with the best possible experience. She wants to be as helpful as possible to her billions of users every day. I recently attended a Google search session in Vancouver for digital agencies. The rep from Google said, and I quote, "Keeping pace is very hard. It terrifies us. The pace of change for technology, mobility, and user behavior has been so rapid in the last decade that being able to offer a valuable and relevant service is difficult, even for Google. To that end, Google does everything she can to be the most relevant source of information for her users, and she knows that her users have 3 goals: to learn something, to find something, and to do something. From your query, she is trying to decipher user intent. Now, you're probably all wondering why I refer to Google as she. So, how many of you women out there have heard your man say, "I didn't know that's what you meant"? See, Google never says that. Google always knows what you mean. And how does Google know what will be helpful and useful to our users? She captures search strings, clicks, page views, time on site, bookmarking, where you went before and after one page, whether you made a purchase or visited a store. She watches and remembers everything. Okay, guys, now you believe me that Google is a woman. But in all seriousness, Google not only indexes text content within a web page, Google has another rating system. In order to rate a web page, the human rater must decide what user intent that web page serves. And ranking the user intent for a specific web page, the 4 quality ratings are 1. Useful, 2. Relevant, 3. Slightly relevant, and 4. Useless. Notice that in the terminology of Google, high quality equals useful. So before you begin designing your campaign or content, stop and think about whether that content will be useful for the specific keyword you're going after. So none of this stuff is earth-shattering, but I already told you it wasn't going to be sexy. So before you go off and do nothing, I want to address some of the objections we typically hear. The first is that marketing is something you turn on and off. Just like a healthy lifestyle, we know that it takes full commitment. Second is a lack of time to commit to marketing, and that might be your own time or your engineer's time. Even without a full marketing team or staff member, it is possible to make gains as long as you're committed, you understand your buyer, and you get on a regimented winning process. If you're committed, what you need is a culture shift within your company to one where marketing and content creation is directly linked to the bottom line, as well as the purpose of your business. For example, instead of your company just selling cloud storage solutions, consider a culture shift where your engineers are no longer technicians who provision servers, they are educators, helping customers improve their business through the cloud. You are now in the market of educating people about cloud storage, and by the way, you do sell, implement, and support cloud storage. I'm going to make it dead simple for you. These are the 6 steps. 1. Understand your unique value proposition. This is where you strip down to your underwear in front of a mirror, get to know yourself. Why are you relevant in the industry? Why do you exist? 2. Identify buyer personas. Get to know your own personal Barry, and usually there will be a variation, a Barry, a Rick, Brent, and Lisa. 3. Understand the 3 stages of the buyer cycle and what your personas are going through during those stages. 4. Do keyword analysis around the terms your personas would be searching at all stages of the buyer journey. What are people searching? What questions are buyers asking? What is the volume, variation, competition? What are your chances? 5. Intent of keyword. How can your content help your buyers 1. Learn something, 2. Find something, or 3. Do something? What would the intent of a buyer be looking up a certain phrase? And 6. Write useful content that addresses the buyer's pains, something that helps them to learn something and help them along their buyer journey. That's it. But this is the regimented winning process which will ensure that you have a healthy stream of leads and a strategy that will continue to grow as long as you continue to work at it. The no diet diet. I'm sure you've already thought of a few ideas for content and you're probably excited to get started back at your office. But in case you're still wondering what kind of content you should be writing, here are some concrete examples. During the awareness stage, Barry's pains may prompt him to search for solutions to mitigate the prevalent use of Dropbox by implementing Windows Group Policy or Cisco Adaptive Security Appliance. So some keywords Barry might search are block Dropbox Group Policy or block Dropbox Cisco ASA. These long-tailed terms have low search volume, but they also include the higher volume keyword block Dropbox. By developing content around helping the enterprise with these 2 offshoot products, you're getting in front of Barry during his awareness stage. Now, Barry realizes that perhaps he has a bigger issue than people using Dropbox. The bigger issue is that they have outgrown their on-premise solution and it's time to consider something more scalable. He is now searching for storage and cloud solutions, corporate data storage policy, or cloud versus on-premise backup. These 2 terms also have low volume, but they include the higher volume terms, cloud versus on-premise with 590 searches a month, and corporate data storage with 140. Between these 2, corporate data storage has less search volume, but theoretically it should be easier to rank for. Barry now has the corporate credit card sitting on his desk and is trying to make a decision. Although it has negligible search volume, the recommended keyword here is Cloud Storage Cost Comparison 2015. The intent is very high. Barry is clearly trying to obtain current pricing. The shorter keyword within this long tail, Cloud Storage cost comparison also has a search volume of 140 and keyword competition is very low. This should be easy to rank for. Now you have organic traffic coming to your site with Barry looking for additional information. In order to get your leads, that's emails and names, into a controlled environment where you can nurture them with more useful content as they move along their journey, you will eventually need to offer gated content. That is free content which requires an email address along with some information about your lead. Once you have that information, you now have the opportunity to have a much more personal experience of the sales journey with your prospect. Email remains the most trackable personal marketing medium, outperforming display ads, AdWords, social, or print. But there are some pitfalls. Remember we talked about the average IT buyer consuming 14 pieces of content before deciding on a vendor to contact? Out of these 14 pieces, some are going to be blog posts, some will be tutorials, infographics, videos, and some will be downloadable premium content. People have too much junk on their hard drives already, so make the free thing that you give away something that actually has inherent value. Some suggestions, software that Barry can use to manage his issues in the short term, or a definitive resource like how to manage your growing corporate data without compromising security, performance, and access. Something that he will come back to again and again, something that solves a real point of pain for the people you're trying to attract. In other words, to get more leads, you should be offering them something more and better than anything that they can find elsewhere. You think that Google doesn't know if your reader cringed at your site or if they loved your article and had a good laugh? Or does it? Even a robot knows that if 8 out of 10 people click the back button after landing on your site, that the content was either irrelevant or not useful. So make sure your content passes the human useful test. Now, let me address the white elephant in the room, PPC. PPC is a good part of your overall marketing strategy, but it's not something you turn on and off and expect to get results. You already told me, Makiko, losing 10 pounds in a week is unreasonable. Same goes for PPC. So the notion that putting a few $1,000s towards Google AdWords as an investment for a month is the wrong way to approach marketing. Put that money back in your pocket and give it to your engineers to write 5 blog posts instead. So that brings us to the debate of organic versus paid. Now, if you have the budget, then I would recommend doing both. Buyers, though, us humans, prefer organic search results because we trust organic. We have a good relation with organic search because we know that Google provides us with useful, relevant results time and time again. It's there for a reason. It earned its way there with clicks and trust. It didn't bulldoze its way there through money. In research done by GroupM and Nielsen, they discovered that in the billions of clicks made on search results, that we collectively only click on paid search results 6% of the time. Think about your own search behavior. Don't you just gloss over the paid results? In addition to the fact that buyers generally don't click on paid ads, it's a bit like taking Lipizan. Once you stop taking the pill or pumping money into your AdWords campaign, it's gone forever. The traffic to your page drops and the leads dry up. Organic, on the other hand, is evergreen. If you've done the research and found a good quality key term and written a quality piece that is useful to your buyer, then you will naturally begin to see results in 3 to 6 months. You do have to ensure that your page is optimized for Google to find you and index you correctly, but those are the nuts and bolts of SEO, and I'll rattle them off here, but I know that most of you know these. Ensuring your key term is in your title and it's within 60 characters, ensuring your key term is in your H1 and H2 tags, ensuring you have quality images and descriptive alt tags, and ensuring your meta description is within 160 characters. I didn't put these in this slide because I don't want you to get hung up on these things. You can easily Google them as well. How to optimize a page for Google. Cloud Spectator is a leading cloud benchmarking company that works with both enterprises for cloud adoption and migration projects and with hosting providers that want to benchmark their performance against other leading providers. In preparing for this presentation at HostyCon, I wanted to develop a case study for a client with whom you could relate, but not necessarily take the examples we give literally, so Cloud Spectator was a good fit. We've known Kenny Lee, CEO of Cloud Spectator, for several years now, but he wasn't quite ready to commit to marketing when we first met him. But about a year ago, he came to us with his commitment to make marketing a part of his business plan in 2015 in order to move his business to the next level. We began in earnest in late November of 2014, and as with all engagements, we went through a process of understanding their business model, their goals, revenue streams, and the marketplace. After identifying their buyers and the pains that they solve, we developed a new message for Cloud Spectator: the insight you need to move with confidence to the cloud. Now, who was buying cloud benchmarking services? Meet Paul, Charles, and Richard. Paul is the hosting provider, CEO, or president. That's most of you listening today. And Charles is the smug-looking consultant. Richard is the enterprise CIO, or director of IT. He's probably similar to the Barry character we were talking about before. There were several other personas like Ian the IT guy and Michelle the provider marketing manager, but Paul, Charles, and Richard were the big game. One advantage that Cloud Spectator has was that they were in the business of producing reports, content. In fact, they produce content for hosting providers so that they can use them to attract traffic to their sites. The disadvantage that Cloud Spectator has is that cloud benchmarking isn't necessarily something that Paul, Charles, or Richard are aware of or realize they need. That was their main pain. In November, Ken Ballas, VP of Sales and Marketing for Cloud Spectator, came to us with a report they were putting together at the end of the year, and they wanted to extend their reach beyond just the hosting and cloud industry, get in front of a greater audience. The report was their annual comprehensive industry benchmark. It was an analysis of 10 of the top cloud IaaS providers benchmarked for price, which one had the best value. For us, this sounded like a slam dunk. This sounded exactly like something that Charles the consultant and Richard the CIO would be looking for if they were working on a cloud migration or expansion project. And certainly Paul the provider CEO would be interested to see how he stacked up to the competition. Although cloud benchmarking may not be as highly searched as cloud hosting, this report would certainly be useful for anyone who may be a prospect and provide us with an opportunity to show what cloud benchmarking could do for them. We went to work. In December, we did our keyword analysis and research. We compared and debated over terms with the best user intent. We contemplated going for search volume versus competition. We got into the results of the report to understand what value the report had to Charles and Richard. It wasn't enough that it was a cloud benchmarking report. We needed to tell them why they needed to download it and what pain or problem it would solve for them. We redesigned the cover of the report to add additional perceived value to the piece. It's human nature to judge a book by its cover, and we wanted this report to shine. The target key term we went after was Cloud Vendor Benchmark 2015 PDF download. A bit of a mouthful. That was the long tail, but in that it also included Vendor Benchmark, Cloud Vendor Benchmark, Cloud Vendor Benchmark 2015. The long-tailed term had a very high level of intent, and our piece provided the best fit for Google to value our content. We decided to launch the report on January 5th, the first Monday after the new year. We created a landing page optimized for our key term, linked it from the website, sent out previews of the report to bloggers and news outlets, and prepared an email campaign to their small list of subscribers. Keep in mind about one thing: we didn't spend a single dollar on PPC or any other advertising. The ingredients for this campaign were: we had a high quality, useful content, we took the time to understand our buyers and their journey, and we did our keyword research and analysis. So here are the results. Here's the lead tracking by source over just the month of January. As you can see, we had 848 total views and 364 submissions to the page. One of the keys to launching our report on January 5th was that we wanted our report to be the first in 2015. For date-sensitive content, Google likes to see first-to-market content. Just as in news, it values those who write up on it first. On January 12th, an industry publication picked up the report and wrote a blog post on it. That provided us with a big boost of leads. That's the yellow spike here. And you'll see that there are bands of teal, which are the social sources. Now, what I want you to focus on is the light green at the end of the month. At first, we had very little to no organic leads, but as the month went on and our referral traffic tapered off, the organic leads continued to grow. I compiled the data on May 25th, which provided us with exactly 20 weeks worth of data from January 5th. This plots views by source. Over those 20 weeks, there were 3,430 views of this one page. We have had 919 submissions to download the report. That's a 26.5% conversion rate. This is incredibly high considering industry standards are about 10 to 15%. It might be a bit hard to read this data, but we'll get into the sources of views shortly. This graph plots leads by source over those 20 weeks. Since the initial jump in January, Cloud Spectator is averaging over 120 leads per month. Previously, they were averaging less than 30 leads per month, and you can see that the light green organic search continues to grow. In this period from February to late May, leads from organic search beats out all other sources combined. So where did all the traffic come from? When we initially launched in January, we were picked up by several publications, and we had a high number of referral traffic. That's the yellow band here. This referral traffic has a very high conversion rate, 45%. So outreach to respected media and related industries is critical for success. But referral traffic can be short-lived. We'll get into that shortly. Social posts require work as well. Social is the teal band here. Cloud Spectator had a small but loyal following of Twitter, but LinkedIn and Facebook had minimal followers. Social could not be counted on. We made a secondary push on Reddit towards hosting in February, which garnered some additional traffic. But still, organic traffic provided by far the largest volume of traffic and total new leads as well. The first graph is traffic from referral sites. We've already gone into this. In this case, the referral traffic actually died down after 3 days. The second graph here is traffic from social. The blip in January was due to our increased social posting, and the blip in February was due to a post on Reddit. Because you don't have control of these mediums, they can provide good initial traffic and adds credibility to your page, but content gets pushed down on these streams pretty quickly. On the other hand, organic traffic continues to grow with landing pages and main site moving up the ranks for select keywords. This shows the growth of organic traffic month to month from January. Having done the keyword research in advance, we knew that there would be some search volume, but the results actually far exceeded our expectation, with Google search traffic coming from several search terms. As a percentage of total leads, organic provided only 18% of the total leads when we first released the report in January. By May, 77% of all leads were coming from organic search. These are some of the keywords that the page now ranks for. There are regional and user behavior, which affects search results, but the landing page has ranked number 1 since January for our keyword Cloud Vendor Benchmark 2015 PDF download. One critical term that Cloud Spectator now ranks number 1 for is cloud benchmarking. We have successfully knocked their competition from this position. Yay! Everyone is happy. We've got leads, leads, leads. Now that we are capturing emails for our prospective customers, it was time to identify their specific pains and offer solutions for them. The campaign didn't end there. Remember Paul, Charles, and Richard? Customized follow-up emails were designed to target the 3 personas. One of the key goals for Cloud Spectator was to educate prospective buyers about cloud benchmarking. 1. Help providers be more educated about benchmarking for competition and of themselves to better understand positioning and market. 2. Help consultants gather better intelligence about the market and provide more thorough analysis for their clients. And finally, help enterprises realize that there's help out there, help with cloud fit and sorting through the prospective vendors. Now, with recognition of their brand, the open rates for their initial follow-up emails were incredibly high. Industry benchmarks for business marketing email open rates are about 22%, but as you can see in the far right column, our open rates were in the high 30s and even high 40s for our initial follow-up email. Cloud Spectator was able to find a larger audience beyond the hosting industry and start targeting the enterprise CIO and consultants. The numbers in the middle show the number of leads for each of the personas. We continue to update our leads with new reports and helpful information about cloud fit and benchmarking as they move along the buying journey. Ken has received inquiries directly from the leads, as well as following up with the leads after a few touch points. So let's recap our systematic winning process that we implemented for Cloud Spectator. First, understanding your unique value proposition. For them, it was our new messaging, providing the insight you need to move with confidence to the cloud. Second, identify buyer personas, identifying Paul, Charles, and Richard. Third, understand the 3 stages of the buyer journey. Because cloud benchmarking is still not mainstream, this piece was both in the awareness and consideration stage depending on the persona, but it may also fall into the decision-making stage for, say, Paul, who has already been doing research on cloud benchmarking for a while, so it was sufficiently useful for all 3 personas. 4. Keyword analysis. We spent a lot of time researching the metrics behind the related key terms and their traffic volume versus competition. 5. We examined the key term against user intent. How did the shortlist of key terms address the intent of the buyer? Would our content meet the expectations of the buyer? And finally, was the piece useful? Would the content be useful for our buyer? Did it fill a content void for them? And would Google deem it useful based on the search terms? With this process, Cloud Spectator now has a healthy stream of leads coming into their sales pipeline, and the organic traffic will continue to grow. In conjunction to the annual report, Cloud Spectator produces additional reports throughout the year, and we collaborate with their team to regularly produce blog posts as well. It takes commitment, getting to know your buyer, and following the winning process. We've brought Cloud Spectator a ton of leads and sales through our digital campaign, and we look forward to a close partnership with them as they grow their business. As I wrap up this presentation, I'd like to send you off with our eGuide to kickstart your digital marketing and lead generation program. You can access it here at site.totalproductmarketing.com/offer. Thank you for attending our presentation. If you're interested in turbocharging your lead gen program, contact us for additional information. You can reach us at info@totalproductmarketing.com. Total Product Marketing is a full-service digital marketing agency dedicated to serving the cloud and hosting industry.